It's bright as hell though. I said millennials don't do curtains though. Hey, what's going on? It's your tech homeboy. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Have y'all heard? Twin Flames. Twin Flame University. Twin Flame. Y'all haven't heard? Alright. Netflix has a documentary about this couple who started Twin Flame University. Alright, so this is mostly a non-spoiler reaction to the documentary. And this is not the reaction to Amazon Prime, so I don't want to see any comments about that documentary. This is a Netflix documentary reaction to Escaping Twin Flames. A new age chick and a businessman walk into a bar. No, I'm kidding. But that's basically kind of what happened. You have a new age religion woman. She's into like Reiki, massages and like healing and like, you know, Eastern medicine and, you know, spirituality and stuff like that. And then you have like this kind of young businessman. He went to business school. I think he went to Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. They get together and they basically run a play on people. That's basically to sum this all up. All right, they run a play on people looking for love. All right, they adopt a new age theory, and I say adopt because when I did a little research, there's a lady named by the last name of Prophet, all names, right, who actually created this twin flame concept. But it's a new age theory concept, and they spread it to basically anyone who's willing to fall for it. If you are willing to fall for it, if you are vulnerable, if you are going through some tough times in your life, you are the perfect person for this, especially if you're like a hopeless romantic and you're looking for love and you might have even went through like a recent breakup. You were the perfect sucker for these people. So it's quite unfortunate. And as I was watching this show, before I give you some more context on the show, as I'm watching the show with my wife, I'm like, when did all this happen? Like, where was I when this happened? Like, you know, I just didn't hear about any of it. Anytime. I guess it doesn't happen on Black Twitter. I don't know. But I didn't hear about any of this. But anyway, Twin Flames is about like karmic marriage, love, destiny, permanent love. You know, so I'm supposed to have like this twin flame. Me and you are supposed to have a twin flame out here in the world somewhere. And we might have already dated our twin flame. We might have already, you know, been abused by them in a previous marriage as well. They might even have a restraining order on us. But apparently this person, according to the creators, we're going to get into the creators in a second, or the you know, the new age prophets here in a second, Jeff and Shalia. They're basically talking about, you know, it doesn't matter if they're married, it doesn't matter if they're in the hospital, it doesn't matter if they have restraining orders against you, if they have new phone numbers. You just need to go after them, stalk them, show them that you are their twin flame. That, listen, I cannot make this stuff up, okay? I can't make it up. So you got Jeff and Shalia. Basically, this video is going to be about like all the red flags. And this is only reaction to episode 1, but all the red flags and all the lessons learned from episode 1, it's just something you guys should look into. So when you know, Google Twin Flames University, Twin Flames, you'll get the perfect context. But it's just, you know, just a normal kind of white hippie couple that's running a play on people who are desperate for love. That's basically what's happening. And it turns into something more than a group looking for love. It really turns into a real cultish group and following where, you know, you have followers who are in love with Jeff and Shalia. They, you know, you have references of Jeff and Shalia referring to themselves as like God and Jesus, and they use a lot of those themes as well. And then we're gonna get into the red flags, but just know that Twin Flames is basically about karmic marriage and love that's permanent. All right, we all have our twin flame out there that we need to get and attract and convince. Red flag number one. The very first red flag I noticed, Jeff and Shalia, the two creators of this twin flame that they adopted from another lady. The creators of Twin Flame University or Universe. Jeff and Shalia are the creators of this. Now, Jeff and Shalia, the very first red flag that came across to me is that they changed their name. Jeff changed his name to it looked like a Greek name. And then Shalia also changed her name from Megan. And then you can look into their last names and all that. But look, they changed their name. And once somebody changes their name, if you only know somebody by like their stage name or their other name, look, red flag number one. They're trying to run a play. They're trying to run a game. They probably have some kind of criminal background. Just run away. Jeff claimed to be like a lifestyle design guy. Of course, like when I think of lifestyle design, I'm thinking of like Kevin Samuels. I'm thinking of Fresher Fit. Just people who are trying to run play on you. And then Shayla was like a Reiki massage therapist. So a play. They're both just trying to run plays. Jeff had a lot of different websites as well, a lot of different businesses rather, which is not a red flag. But when you change your name, that is a super red flag to me. All right, that's the number one red flag to me. So if y'all know people out here changing their name multiple times and stuff, look, just watch how you deal with this person, okay? A red flag number two, again, I'm not gonna get into too many spoilers, but they don't separate from your friends and family. If you get into any group, any organization, these people were separating them from their friends and family, calling them evil, demonic. Your friends and family, evil and demonic. They don't buy into this twin flame and get into the twin flame universe. And they know, as cult leaders, that your social circles are your biggest force of influence. All right. So if I can get this person out of their biggest force of influence, get them into my social circle, my standards, my way of life, the people who I'm around, and people who kind of live like me and think like me, and we all have the same agenda, then this person is easy for the taking. But if I leave them in their social circle, they won't really receive the message I'm giving them. And that basically goes beyond cults, right? That goes just into people with like narcissistic personalities, and other kind of abusive people like that. So I'm not gonna get into too much detail, but that's red flag number two. Don't separate yourself from your family and friends. Don't do that. Red flag number three. Don't believe in destiny or soulmate. I know a lot of people are probably not gonna like that. I do not believe you have a soulmate. I do not believe things are destiny either. I think things change by the second. I also think that you are compatible and attract a lot of different people. I mean, as long as you're a decent person, you shouldn't just have one person who's attracted to you if you're decent. What do you think, Boo?
I think that, the whole idea of a soulmate is kind of limiting. And I think that, you can have soulmates and friends and intimate partners and everything, but I don't think that in the context of this show, no. Like, that was wild. How they convinced those people that everything will be solved if they found their soulmate.
Yes, believing one person is your soulmate is a path to abuse as well. A lot of people can manipulate that absolute idea of a soulmate, and they did in this show in the first episode. If I'm gonna have a reaction video to each episode, but in the first episode, it's just like, what? I did not know people. I mean, I don't know. I did know a lot of people believe this, but people also are willing to bend their beliefs in search of something that they desperately want. So that's like a lesson learned too. But red flag: don't believe in destiny or a soulmate. My last red flag of the show, of the episode rather, don't break the law. I mean, these people were suggesting, Jeff and Shayla were suggesting that the followers break the law. Like, openly break the law, defy restraining orders, defy reality, logic, criminal precedents.
Don't break the law if you don't have lawyer money.
Don't break the law if you don't have lawyer money, okay? These people couldn't even bail themselves out of jail, bro. And they were being pushed to break the law. In search of a twin flame. That is a person who you believe is your soulmate. You have this eternal and permanent tie to. Regardless of your twin flame's current situation. All right. And as I was watching episode 1, the lady was speaking about other people in the group who had restraining orders. Like, I don't know if you caught that, babe, but she kind of referenced that other people in the group had restraining orders too. So I'm like, oh, this is just like a thing. Y'all are just define restraining orders. Okay, got it. Those are the 4 red flags that came out to me episode 1. Let me know what y'all think about the episode. It was wild. It was wild. You know, I mean, I can come at this at a comedic point of view, but it's a pretty serious thing. Like as I kind of just process and think through it. So I don't want to make light of the situation. It is comedy in some ways, but it's a pretty serious thing. Like, it's not just cults, right? It can be a lot of things, right? So some lessons learned. My first lesson learned from this is that people are willing to pay a lot for connections, okay? We're willing to pay a lot of money, time, energy for soulmate connections, business connections, but particularly in this episode, relationship and like love connections. People are really dying for like human connections out here. And it's just the desire to have human connection is like age, human old, right? So it's really unfortunate how like you can manipulate people and how like how people can make some of the rashest decisions for what they think to be love. And then to tie it in with like spirituality, oh man, people would just do anything between spirituality / religion and love. People are willing to do some of the wildest things. You can just look at everything, honestly. Some of the major things that's going on in the world now have to do with, religion, spirituality. I mean, people are willing to do some heinous things over religion, spirituality, the most wildest things, right? And are willing to bend so much logic and reality. Especially in this episode, you'll see what I'm talking about. To conform with what they desire, which is like love and human connection. I think that's like probably the largest lesson that I took away from this. Another lesson is to start a Facebook group around this belief or idea. Sell them products and digital services and products. At the time, this was I think this was like in the early 2000s. I think this was. So the group had 40,000 members. There were like 60,000 subscribers though. And then the class costs were between $700 and $2,000. You can divvy up those payments if you need to. There's some convenient payment packages. And that's just from Twin Flames Universe. That doesn't include the classes Jeff sold, which were like healing cancer, healing, all kind of things you can expect from people who are in the new age space, right? They were selling all kind of classes. And that's a lesson I took away. Like, honestly, my wife and I were watching. We're like, what are we doing? Like, we're obviously doing something wrong. We need to start taking some photos, smiling all the time, start a Facebook group, Zoom call twice a week, $10 a week. I mean, they have 40,000 members, guys. I mean, that's wild. If you get a 10% of those people to pay, 4,000 times 500, I'm no mathematician, but that is a good life if you ask me. That's like 20,000 if I'm not mistaken, or 200,000 might be. But listen, start a Facebook group, sell digital products. If you go to my description, you will see the Facebook group I started. If you go to my video from months ago, I've been talking about this group, changed the name. we have a name. The name now is Manly Shit. So go in the description, click on it, check us out, hang out with us. All right. Another lesson learned. They used a model group, and I have the model group. I can't find the name actually. I thought I had the name here, but they used a model couple, and they showed them as a success. They used them as a success, and then they elevated them as well in the universe. So they had a couple that got together they actually were together previously, right? They were together previously, and then one of the ladies was advised by Jeff and Shayla to go after him. So she actually pursued him, and I think they were talking for 2 months, and then they were married, and under like the advice and suggestion of Jeff and Shayla, they also moved in together. I understand that the Jeff and Shayla raised money for them, like $10,000 or $15,000 to raise money for them to get their home, to kind of get their starting out together. And they used them as like this perfect group, as this perfect married couple, as a graduate of their program. They became coaches, and this married couple also became, basically little Jeff and Shayla's, and they kind of spread their gospel to people, and they charge people for coaching classes and all that, right? Typical scam. So this sister, who was a part of the successful couple, she also had a twin younger sister. I said twin younger sister. She also had a twin sister, and her twin sister fell into the scam as well. And I'll let you guys, watch that yourself. It's wild. It's wild. But that's still a lesson I learned. Show a success from your model, parade it, elevate it, and try to duplicate it. I have 2 more lessons in here. I'm gonna cross out one of them because I don't want to get canceled. But the other one is how there's a scientist in there, and I kind of referenced this earlier, who fell for this, and she mentioned that she was a scientist and that she still fell for this racket that's going on, this alleged racket that's going on. So even the most logical and scientific among us can fall for this stuff. Like I said, it bears repeating that the humans are extremely willing to bend their beliefs and their reality around them to fit into what they desire. So let me know what you think about the show. I definitely advise you to watch it again. It's called Escaping Twin Flames Universe on Netflix. Not the one on Amazon Prime. I may watch that one. But each episode you will have a fresh reaction to this show. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you comment. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all the best.